I've built a lot of things in my day, and this one, by far, is probably one of the most fun builds that I've done. I'm going to go over it step by step and teach you exactly how to do it. I did take a few different ideas off the internet of some different ways to do it, but I made some tweaks of my own, some changes, and this particular air cannon has the ability to put interchangeable muzzles or barrels on the end of it, so it gives you some different options for projectiles and sizes of projectiles to shoot out of it. So let's get into it. For tools, you're going to need just a basic tape measure, a drill bits, you'll need a tap set, and then some sort of a saw. You can use a table saw, bandsaw, regular hacksaw, or a pole saw, or a sawzall to cut all the PVC pipe to size. Alright, step one is you're going to need to procure all the materials. So as you can see right here, I've got a variety of different sizes of PVC pipe. I bought all of these in 2-foot increments, so 24-inch lengths. It is all Schedule 40 PVC pipe, and you're going to want either Schedule 40 or Schedule 80 to make sure it's got the pressure rating that you're going to need for this. Don't go anything less than that. And then a number of different fittings that you're going to need. So I'll break it down for you here. What you see here is the entire layout of all the PVC pipe, the fittings, the area where the air valve is attached, the sprinkler valve with the air gun trigger attached to it, and then the pressure gauge is actually separate, but that'll be attached later. And here is the layout with all the dimensions if you want to take a screenshot of this. For parts are a 1-inch inline orbit sprinkler valve. This is the electronic piece of that you're not going to need, so you're going to just toss that. So that we won't need. So that's what the sprinkler valve looks like. We're going to modify this. Then you'll need an air blower gun to use as the trigger. Then you need a 1/2-inch adapter, or excuse me, male to male fitting goes into that, and that's going to go into our valve. Then you need a 1/4-inch tank valve. That's what we're going to use to put our air into the system. Pressure gauge, we'll use the 1/2-inch end on here. A little bit of pipe thread tape to seal everything. And then you will need some epoxy, 2-part epoxy, so it's fast drying. And then you need some primer. It's like a cleaner, but a primer for PVC. And then make sure you get the heavy-duty cleaner, this PVC cement. So, and I also got a couple of toothpicks we may or may not use to jam those in the valve here. So, one thing I'll talk about a little bit more in the demo, you're going to need something to put the compressed air into the air chamber. I've got either a Milwaukee compact compressor that's completely battery powered, or you could use, like a standard bike pump. This takes much longer. This is way more convenient, but I'll show you more in the demo. That's all your materials that you're going to need. Might be a couple little things, but that should be just about it. The valve modification is actually pretty simple. Here's your 1-inch inline sprinkler valve. When you take it out of the box, it actually comes with a electronic solenoid on the top. You can actually get rid of this. You can put that off to the side. You don't need that. You don't need the box anymore. That can pretty much go away. All right, then you're left with the sprinkler valve itself. Take a Phillips screwdriver or a drill, and you want to take the top cap off. This just comes off like so. Grab your screws out of there for now. Should be 4 screws. You can just take those out, and then take this, put it off to the side. The majority of what we're doing is all just with the top cap here. So you have your 1/4 inch NPT nipple. It's a hex nipple, so male to male. We're going to be mounting that into the top of this valve cap. You need a 7/16 inch drill bit, and then you need a 1/4 inch MPT 18 tap. This is pretty critical to get the same pitch and thread count. So we'll take our drill, get that loaded up. You want to get as precise as possible. I'm going to make sure that I'm right in the center. You could drill a pilot hole if you wanted to. Drill it as straight as you possibly can. Okay, now you get your 7/16 inch hole. I'm just going to throw that in a vice grip, and then same thing, want to be as straight as possible. Not going to go all the way, I'm going to go part way. All right, back that back out. All right, so once you get that tapped, take your hex nipple. We're going to take a little bit of pipe thread, tape. I'm going to wrap that on here. I'm going to thread that in. Take my vice grip. You want to get that nice and snug. There we go. Let's fit in here. Looks good. Mix up our epoxy. We've got our 2-part quick dry epoxy. I just got a piece of cardboard here I can use for mixing. So I want to do equal parts. Okay, those caps back on, go off to the side, then take my toothpick and I'll mix that up really well so it's all together. All right, that's it. Then we're going to take just a small piece of tape, and on the inside of this there's two little holes. I'm going to do my best to get that down in there and basically cover both holes. And then I'm going to flip this over. And then the epoxy, I'm actually putting in those holes. To cover that up. Just trying to be careful not to slap any on the rim. You want to get it just inside the holes. All right. And what I'm also going to do too is I'm going to take a little bit of this epoxy. I'm going to put some around. I'm going to put some around that nipple thread, just to give a little added strength. And then to make it easy, I think I'll just take that so I can, maybe I'll set it on here. And you want to let that harden completely. So set it off to the side and wait for that to dry. All right. After our epoxy is dried, we'll reassemble the sprinkler valve. Okay. So we got the sprinkler valve here. We're going to go ahead and put our two ends in. These are 1-inch male adapters. Make sure we tape these. These go on. Okay. All right. Starting to take shape here. This guy right here. Grab your blowgun and make sure you tape the nipple thread before you put that on. So I'm going to put a little tape on here. And then you can go ahead and screw your blow gun onto the nipple. That's that. Now that we got everything cut and all our pieces laid out so we know exactly what we did all the dry fitting. Now we can glue and put everything together, except we'll leave the cap end off until we get our pressure gauge installed, so we can clean out the debris after we drill that. We're using primer, coat the edges, and then we're using heavy duty PVC cement clear. So shake this up a little bit. Now we're going to continue to put primer on all the edges and the insides of each fitting and the outsides of all the tubes, just to get everything all set with an initial coat. And again, do this in a well ventilated area so the fumes are not so intense. Alright, and what I did too is I put a little bit of primer on again, and then I put the glue on so it kind of mixes together while it's still wet, and then you slide everything on. And just one by one, put all the fittings together, just like the diagram. And this is the fun part, so you can see it all kind of coming together. Push them in pretty tight, especially some of those adapters, they go in pretty far. And just a quick note that I did double check some of the measurements as I was putting everything together to make sure that I didn't move something out of place, or especially the small little ones at the end. You'll notice I left the 4-inch end cap off and a little bit of it left unassembled before I did the pressure gauge. For the pressure gauge installation, you'll use a 7/16" drill again. Drill that through the 3-inch coupler and into the 3-inch pipe, and then you'll again use your 1/4-inch NPT tap. And just like last time, try to keep that as straight as possible. And now you can continue to assemble the rest of the back trigger side with all your small 1-inch pieces. One tip here while you're putting your handle together, what I did is I found that it needed a little extra strength. So I took some heavy duty tape, some duct tape, that white duct tape again, and I taped up the handle just to give it some reinforcement, and that helped when I was having people hold it or holding it myself, kept it a little bit stronger. Then what I did is I took some hot glue and I put that around where the nipple went into the top sprinkler valve cap, and that also added a bunch of strength to that as well. I had to find some way to get this lower chamber attached to the top tube and have it stable. So I ended up using the white duct tape again. You could either take some foam pieces, which I did here, put some foam in between there, and then I basically wrapped it, or you can again use some of your leftover PVC cuttings. This is the 1-inch. You could probably put that 1-inch in there, either go all the way with it and stick it in there so it's one long piece, or you can put it in as a stabilizer. So what that does is it just helps kind of lock everything in so things are not moving. And I think the tape seemed to work well because it has adhesive on it. It was able to keep stabilized and not move anything around. So essentially, you're taking the tape and going around from one way to the other, and kind of make sure it's smooth. What I would do is maybe use some scissors and cut the edges so you get everything really clean, and put it on both areas, and that seems to keep everything stabilized and locked in. The other cool little feature that you can add to your cannon is a shoulder strap. What I did is I took some sash chain, and you could use a zip tie or some rope or twine or anything you want that's going to be something that can attach around these points right here. I did sash chain with a little S hook, and then I knurled it so it's not going to come apart, and then did the same on this other side too. Here's the strap. You can rummage one of the closets in your house, or see if you got an old bag that was from a trade show or something like that, or you can also go to Goodwill. I was just there recently and looked in the bag department, and if you kind of rummage around a bit, you can find a strap on an old bag that is pretty cheap. I saw one for like $5. But anyway, you attach it to the top. I think get one with a swivel on it, so that helps. And then attach it on this point, and then you've got yourself a shoulder strap. So be able to put it over your shoulder, and it also makes it a little easier to fire and hold and aim. One trick if you're using potatoes or something that you have to shave down to get a nice snug fit inside the barrel is to take a grinder or a file and give a little sharpen to the edge of the barrel. So that way, when you have your potato, these are the little bite-sized ones, you can basically shave it off, and you got a nice tight fit inside that's actually sealed. Beautiful.
Oh, good job, Whiskey.
I have insurance.